Greetings, everyone. So tonight I'm going to talk about narcissism, inclusivity. So it goes along with having to be in the in group, but what inclusivity is about, well, I guess I could have called this exclusivity, but they're both related. So narcissists love to have these little inclusive groups and not allow you in their group, not allow you in their club. It could be at a workplace. It could be in your family. It could be when you go to a family gathering. It could even be in an email, like a group email sent. Like, say you have a narcissistic boss, and he wants to make sure you know that you're not either accepted or you're not in the prestigious group. And he will send a group email out to the entire office and not have you included. So it's really about excluding you, honestly. But it's like this. I've seen this so many times. But it's more like, oh, we're going to have our little group over here. And you just go sit over there. They will purposely, let's say you go to a family barbecue. And at one picnic table, you have most of your sisters are sitting there, and like one or two of your nieces. They're all adults, and they make sure to not talk to you, which actually is ignoring, obviously, but it's also making sure that you know you're not good enough to join them. They don't really care about you or what's going on in your life, and they're going to make sure that you know you're not wanted at their table. This happens all the time. It happens online. It happens in real life. It happens in family groups, work groups. It even happens in large, what am I trying to say? Societal groups. Always trying to exclude you because you're not good enough. You know, you didn't make the cut. You aren't, let's say you're in high school, you're not popular enough, or you're not pretty enough. You're not rich enough. It's one of those kinds of things. And honestly, it's really extremely cold-hearted. It's cruel. It's very cruel. And I feel like this happens, I mean, I have to think back really long time to when I was in grade school. But it happened in grade school. It really did. Junior high, high school. That's all, like, with all the various groups. You have the really smart ones. You have the drama groups. You have the jocks, the geeks, you know, all of this. And especially in those ages, more narcissistic type people are going to be really cruel. They're going to make sure that you know that you're not wanted, that you're not invited. They will make sure you are not acknowledged if you say hi. They will make sure that if you look their way, they look away, like that you don't exist. Yeah, it's really, it's very callous. It's very well thought out. And the narcissist knows exactly what they're doing. And they don't care about your feelings. There's something inside of you that makes them feel uncomfortable. Maybe it's the color of your hair. Maybe it's your cultural background. Maybe you're a better reader than they are. I mean, whatever it is, they feel uncomfortable in your presence. So, and that's because they're not feeding themselves enough love, or, encouraging themselves, affirming themselves enough. So, in order to feel better or superior, they have to make you feel unwanted. If I really think about it, inclusivity is everywhere. It's kind of a shame, really. It's a shame. And I know nowadays, what is it that people are always talking about? I guess they do talk about inclusivity. But it's kind of, I don't particularly like how society tries to pitch inclusivity, because, and I say society loosely, like if you hear it on the news a lot, or you hear it when you go to your workplace, they're pushing it a lot, and if you really look into the heart of it, it's not inclusivity, it's actually separation. It's actually separation. You have to really look deep into it. How many times have we been in situations where another person or a group of people made sure to not include us? And I don't want to talk about only high school, but it's everywhere. I personally feel the more toxic workplaces love to do that kind of stuff, because that goes into more of the triangulation, pitting people against each other. It's kind of like the divide and conquer. Let's pit them against each other so that we can stay in power, we can stay in charge. It's really cruel. I mean, if you look at the school, and I'm just saying this real generally basic, if you look at the basics or the general school systems in America, and I'm out of it, I don't have children or grandkids, so I don't know what's going on in the schools nowadays, but the systems are set up for exclusion of your child for one or another reason. Like even the way they're doing math now is really kind of odd. So if your child's brain doesn't really operate that way, to figure out the math problem in this real strange way that they're trying to make children do it, it's awful. I've seen them. It's awful. For me, math was hard enough, and then you have to throw in all these things. So always there, the inclusivity is always there to make you feel like you don't add up. You're not good enough. Trying to think of some other examples. Well, I'm thinking of on a basic level, like a lot of sports teams, and I'm not an athlete. I don't even really know any athletes personally, really good ones. But the way they have to get, they have to be good enough for the team, and it's real regimented the way they do things. I feel that's very inclusive. And it reminds me of a lot of these societies like brotherhood type places, or even as far as that goes, like workplaces that call each other brothers or sisters. And you might have that in the military, you might have that in the police force. And again, it goes back to, we are included and you're not. So we're included, inclusivity, with just our seven brothers, and you're not in the club, so you are excluded. And it will be known, like everybody knows when they're not included. And it can be hurtful. Me personally, I feel like people that do that, and 100% more narcissistic. However, you are going to get people that get caught up into these more narcissistic, what is the word I'm looking for? The more narcissistic, I don't want to say clubs, but structures. Like, so for example, a fraternity, a sorority, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. So if, let's say a young girl gets caught up in the Girl Scouts, and she's got she has a best friend, and her best friend is not a Girl Scout, right there, her friend is being excluded from being a Girl Scout. I mean, that's real. I'm looking at it in a literal way, but you guys will understand the point. But I can just look back in my life, so many instances of being excluded from groups of people, or so-called friendships, or maybe even, let's say it was a certain kind of group in high school. Like, let's say it was band, or it was chorus, or it was a drama club. It's specific to me, in my opinion, and I was always a sensitive child, and I still have a very sensitive heart. You wouldn't know it by being around me, but as you get to know me, you'll know that I'm sensitive. And if a narcissist is going to go out of their way to make sure you're not being listened to or paid attention to, it's very cruel. So why would you even want to be around a person like that? Why would you want to be around that? Like, I always laugh when the minute that I'm around a group of people, or just a few friends, or even family members for that matter, the minute I can feel they're trying to do some weird stuff to try to make me feel like I'm not good enough, or or just purposely leave me out, don't acknowledge me, don't say hello to me, don't invite me to the other family reunion that we're going to have next year, or something, on purpose to hurt me. That's what it's done for. It's intentionally done to hurt you. And then if you bring it up, like, which I won't even do that now. I'd be like, fuck all the way off. But if I see someone trying to do that to me, or doing that to me, I just am like, whatever, like, I'm out. Like, why would I want to be around a person like you? I mean, honestly, if you go deep into it, like, I would look at the how young girls, or even just women in general, are pressured in our society to look a certain way, to feel a certain way, to present themselves a certain way. There's a lot of pressure. That's inclusivity versus exclusivity. And unfortunately, little girls are getting it really bad now. Little boys go through this too. But I mean, it's bad. It's bad. It's part of social engineering. Like the peer pressure. If you don't, which I'm extremely against, say you have a 12-year-old girl, my personal opinion, she shouldn't be wearing makeup. And I mean, maybe she wanted to wear a little bit of lip gloss and a tiny bit of mascara. As a mother, if I was a mother, I would be like, well, just a little bit. But I personally am not for these very young girls wearing makeup. So now in society, and you guys know who runs the show, they're really projecting that young girls should be wearing makeup and that. You guys know how it will go in my household. You just know. But that's the exclusivity, inclusivity. So that's like, I wouldn't even say that's peer pressure. That's social engineering. But if you ever go out, let's say you went out to a restaurant, let's say like Buffalo Wild Wings. Say you went to Buffalo Wild Wings to meet with a friend, and you go there a lot, so you see, people that you know a lot, like friends, and they don't really talk to you very much when you go in there. That's that inclusivity crap, right? It's so hurtful, It's so mean. It's so mean. It's just so mean. I've never gone through this in my family, thankfully, but I've heard stories about people who would really have these kinds of issues in their family, like their immediate family. And that goes with the whole golden child, black sheep. Oh, what are the other ones? All those roles that they try to put the child into, which they can switch around if they want to. But they will, let's say you have a really narcissistic mother and she's mean to her daughter. And what she does to her daughter, which is more like the scapegoat, black sheep, she always tries to make her daughter feel that she should live up to the accomplishments and talents of her brother, which she doesn't have because she's different. Let's say he's athletic, she's not. He's on the football team, she's not. She's everything that he's not, polar opposite. Well, mom won't waste any opportunity to let her daughter know that her brother Bob did such a better job than she did. Or why can't you be like your brother? And then there's an after school, or what is it called? Let's just say there's an after school football game. Let's say your brother's in junior high and you're like 1 year below him. He's 8th grade, you're 7th. Your mom is going to go to the football game without you and not even ask you if you want to go. That's it. Inclusivity, exclusivity. Even on the internet it happens. People will ignore you. They will ignore you, like if you're in the chat, or they will ignore your comments and things like that. I mean, when I see people doing things like that, I just like think to myself, well, thank you for showing me who you are, because I know I'm not mean like that. I would never do that. And I feel like the internet definitely gives people more opportunity to be narcissistic. Well, I mean, just really to live out their narcissicity. And triangulate, divide, make sure people know you're not in the club. You know, like George Carlin, you ain't in the club. And I was going to say too, with anytime those things happen to me, like let's say it happened to me at a family gathering, I'm like, good, deuces. I'm going to go home and pet my cat or whatever I'm going to do. You know, who wants to be around people like that? It's cruel. And I really feel when you have this exclusivity, inclusivity, me personally, because I remember as a young girl going through things like that, it is extremely hurtful. And unless you have good guidance from your parents or your, you know, whomever is in your life as an adult mentor, if they're not giving you good guidance, maybe they don't know how to, you're not going to know what's happening. And you're going to cry because all the girls are making fun of you because of your red hair. I say that because I went through that. You won't understand it because you're a child. I actually, when I think about it, teachers do this. And I'm thinking more so about in elementary school. Actually, you know, obviously more narcissistic teacher, someone who's kind-hearted wouldn't do this. But they will purposely divide certain children into groups. Purposely. Just like the narcissistic mother is going to divide her children into the golden child, the scapegoat. There's the other one too, the middle child, the young child, I forget. A narcissistic teacher will purposely, let's say you have different kinds of exercises going on. The narcissistic teacher is going to purposely pair up children in a way that's not good for them. She might purposely pair up a really super shy child with like the bully. She might pair up two girls that she knows don't really like each other very much. And not for a positive outcome, but in order to get the girls fighting because, you know, then she can come in and say, what are you girls doing? And it's always to cause some kind of drama or some kind of ruckus, you know? But really, actually, that could be a good study when you think about it. Inclusivity versus exclusivity. And me personally, all these various organizations or on the media or you hear inclusivity. I believe when you look deep into it, they're actually trying to separate people. And also bringing subjects into the workplace that should not be really workplace subjects. They should be for, you know, personal life or more religious life or whatever. It shouldn't be brought into the workplace. So at the end of the day, the inclusivity versus exclusivity is you're not good enough to be in our club. We don't want you in our club. And we're going to make sure that you can feel that we don't want you. So that's it, you guys. I hope that was helpful. Have an amazing day wherever you are. Like and subscribe if you choose. Peace.